cheeseburger you do not want.
I do not want that cheeseburger.
Those fries give Yoda.
Here, have my fries.
Your drink desire you not.
The Diet Pepsi, I do want.
Want you not.
Do
not want.
This summer, grab a Diet Pepsi and see Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
I am hot. Are we there yet?
For the last time, donkey, no.
Are you hot? Because I'm burning up.
Shut it, donkey.
Well, I'm sweating like a pig. Only a big pig wearing a thick donkey hair coat. Who would have scorched you? I tell you, Shrek, I am as hot, man. Whoa!
And like that, Sierra Mist. Tastes one shockingly refreshing lemon lime.
Let's do that again.
In 1886, a Georgian man, not that Georgia, this one. This guy was a pharmacist. One day, he was bored with writing prescriptions for Coke, so he sprinkled some into some carbonated water. He called his concoction Coca-Cola. 2 years later, the formula was yoinked by Asa Griggs Candler, who founded the Coca-Cola Company in 1896. 2 years later, in North Carolina, Caleb Bradham renamed his Brad's Drink to Pepsi Cola. In 1902, he officially founded the Pepsi Cola Company. Soon after this, Coke started doing some interesting stuff in the market. They got celebrities to endorse the drink, and they changed the design of their bottle to the iconic slim glass. Pepsi was not doing so hot. After World War I, economic instability caused the company to declare bankruptcy. Then they came back. Then they went bankrupt again. Then they came back again. Pepsi is the William Afton of soda companies.
I always come back.
At this point, they just offered to sell to Coca-Cola, which was declined. No one can say for sure, but perhaps that slap in the face was enough to spark. Everybody knows about the Cola Wars. Two corporation giants battling for dominance. Who can cause the most early onset diabetes? Find out tonight on, oh, it's McDonald's. Yeah, we should have seen that coming. Over the decades, Pepsi and Coke would release different brands of soda, which would actively compete with each other. Sprite? No, try Sierra Mist. Diet Coke? Diet Pepsi. The stakes are high in this market. By far the biggest blunder was New Coke, but the Cola Wars themselves were so much bigger than just New Coke. Both companies released drinks upon drinks upon drinks, only taking breaks to release more drinks. Most of them just faded into obscurity, remembered as passing trends and nothing more. I, Candles, am determined to plunder their graves for content. My funny sex ed videos aren't gonna fund themselves, besides your support on Patreon, link in description. Today, we're going on a journey through soda history. This is every discontinued soda explained.
It's here, it's crystal clear, new tea in the bright green bottle. It's tingling, it's refreshing, perfectly light.
Team was introduced in 1959 by PepsiCo. Conceived as a competitor to 7-Up, this lemon-lime soft drink was actually pretty popular. When it was being pitched to Pepsi, it ran under the name Duet. However, due to a potential trademark infringement with Swifts, a food manufacturer with an orange of the same name, the name was changed to Team. The drink was tested that same year in Missouri. 3 days later, on the following Monday, the local newspaper ran that the soda would be available in stores. There's really nothing all that special about the story of Team. It was a hit for a couple of decades, but declining sales led to its discontinuation in 1984. Other sodas just outperformed it, and it was no longer popular enough to be in Pepsi's lineup. Even though you can't find it in the US or Canada, Team is still available in Pakistan, Brazil, Uruguay, Honduras, Nepal, Nigeria, India, and South Africa. It was available in other markets for a while, but due to a license that was given to Pepsi to distribute 7-Up in those places, Team was inevitably shown the door there as well. Now this is where this war starts to get interesting.
This is a Diet Cola with sugar, one of the biggest. But it has 72 calories in a 12-ounce glass. And that's more calories than in all these glasses of Tab put together.
Tab was one of the first diet sodas to hit the market, the first being Diet Right. Diet Right performed successfully, leading Coke to produce their own healthier option of soda in 1963. Why the name Tab? According to records, it was marketed to consumers who wanted to keep tabs on their weight. I like to consider the alternative, as you can measure the weight of a person by how many tabs of porn they have open. Okay, that was really mean, sorry. They also marketed it towards, beautiful people? This really was the 60s, wasn't it? Buy Tab to keep those black homes out of your neighborhood. The name was also a product of computation, believe it or not. Coca-Cola used an IBM 1401 computer to generate a list of over 185,000 four-letter words with one vowel, plus names suggested by the company's own staff. Hey, my heart goes out for the guy that suggested the name Cock. The list filtered for any names that matched with existing trademarks, and the computer finally got it down to a list of 20 words. From this list, the name Tab was selected, later shortened to Tab. They then capitalized the B for no reason, and boom, perfect name. There were 6 different flavors of Tab, all of which were free of sugar. Root beer, lemon lime, ginger ale, black cherry, strawberry, and orange. 1983 saw the release of a caffeine-free version of the original flavor, alongside caffeine-free Coke and Diet Coke. They even released Tab Clear in 1992 to compete with Crystal Pepsi. So what did Tab actually taste like? Well, Tab fans remember the soda tasting like metal. I'm serious. Straight from the wiki, fans have described the soda as having a bitter, metallic taste, thanks to the saccharine, an artificial sweetener used in the original formulation. While it was an acquired taste, Tab attracted a strong and loyal fan base. Oh yeah, speaking of saccharine, Tab was sweetened with a mixture of saccharine and cyclamate. After the FDA issued a ban on cyclamate in 1969, the drink was switched over to sodium saccharine. But wait, there's more! After it was found that saccharine was linked with bladder cancer in rats,
Oh no, this is horrible!
Congress required that every food item containing the chemical display a warning on the label. But this decision was reversed when it was found that, oops, saccharine did not cause bladder cancer in humans. Those silly scientists. So what happened? If a health scare isn't enough to kill a drink as popular as Tab, what will? Diet Coke will. In 1982, the company introduced the new diet drink, after which Tab sales declined. The company didn't cease production right away, they just produced less and less cans over the years. As previously mentioned, Tab still had its dedicated fan base. Those fans would be betrayed when Coke switched Tab's formula yet again in 1984 by replacing the saccharine with NutraSweet. This altered its yummy metal taste, alienating much of the fan base. Fast forward all the way to COVID in 2020, and Coke finally has the perfect excuse to discontinue Tab altogether. But this didn't stop Tab fans from creating the Save Tab Soda Committee. The most impactful thing you can do to advance our cause is by helping us increase our numbers. The more of us there are, the more likely the Coca-Cola Company will listen to us. Sheila says, would like to keep fighting for Tab. How stupid is Come to have a popular drink they don't even have to advertise. They advertise stupid Diet Coke, which is awful, as the soda your mom used to drink. Boy, they got that wrong. Could have said it better myself.
Let me take you to a sparkling new world of refreshment. Aspen is here, crisp and crystal clear. Aspen, the new soft drink with just a snap. A clean, fresh snap of apple.
Aspen Soda is pretty unique because it's an apple-flavored soft drink. You don't see that very often. It was introduced in 1978 by Pepsi. According to my very limited sources, it was meant to evoke the crispiness of mountain air and orchards. A premier drink for the rich and sophisticated. Not a bad idea. Too bad it failed. It was discontinued in 1982, and that's all she wrote. Literally, I wasn't able to find any other information on this drink. It only lasted 4 years, so it makes sense that it didn't have much of a cultural impact. Still, it was enough to make a bunch of these top 10 lists.
This holiday season, get the lemon lime soft drink with real juice. Get Slice.
We got the juice, a burst of cheer. We got the taste for this time of year. We got the juice, we got the twist. We got what's Sprite and 7-Up can miss.
10% real juice.
We got the juice, it's going fast. We're stocking up to make it last. So nice. We got the juice.
Happy holidays.
Slice was the drink that replaced Aspen Soda. Introduced by Pepsi in 1984, it had one distinguishable characteristic. It contained 10% fruit juice, which is actually quite a lot. You'd be surprised at how little fruit juice is in most fruit-based products. Diet Slice was introduced just 1 year later in 1985. 1 year after that, you now had Lemon Lime Slice, Mandarin Orange Slice, Apple Slice, and Cherry Cola Slice, with diet versions of each. We got the juice. Oh, you've got the juice? The juice that is currently in hot pursuit down the LA freeway? Ah, wrong juice. Slice was pretty successful upon launch, which may have something to do with its name. This is purely my own opinion, but Slice is up there for one of the best names for a soda. It's concise, it sounds fresh, and is easy to say too. Hey, give me an orange slice. It just makes sense. It was so successful, in fact, that it went on to inspire drinks like Minute Maid Soda and Sunkist. By May of 1987, Slice held 3.2% of the soft drink market. Doesn't sound like a lot, but we're talking billions here. Soda is big, big business. Curiously, Slice's impressive figure started to fall rapidly. 1 year later, its market share was nearly halved. I'm really not sure why. Competition, maybe? It was enough of a drop to cause some changes. The juice content had been significantly reduced, the slogan was changed to "Either you got it or you don't," and the apple and cherry cola flavors were discontinued. A few years later, the packaging was redesigned, and the juice content dropped entirely, which, in my opinion, was the real kiss of death for this product. I mean, it sounds like the fruit juice was the only thing that made Slice stand out, and now it's entirely gone. But they did expand their flavor lineup. Strawberry Slice, Pineapple Slice, Fruit Punch Slice, and Grape Slice. They also added a mascot for Slice, this adorably animated little guy. Fun fact, he's actually a 7-Up mascot in the international markets. But because of Pepsi's control over the international 7-Up market, they got to use him here. They also changed the slogan again to "Clearly the One" during this time, which would have been great for a drink like Clear Tab, but I guess Coke missed the boat on that one. In 1994, they introduced Dr. Slice, meant to compete with Dr. Pepper. Oh yeah, I guess Dr. Pepper is in this too. They're not really a part of this story. In '97, the cans were redesigned again, and the Mandarin Orange flavor was reworked into Orange Citrus. It's orange, only twisted. The India and Pakistan markets got their hands on Mango Slice, and there were also a Peach Slice and Red Slice in there somewhere. Sometime in the late 2000s or early 2010s, the drink was discontinued. Although I was just shopping today, and what do I find on the shelves? Slice. So either the trademark expired or it isn't completely gone after all. Slice is one of the ones on this list that really interests me, as there isn't really a good reason for its decline in sales. Just under 2% of the market share isn't anything to sneeze at, but I guess it wasn't good enough for Pepsi. It held on there a good while into the early 2010s, but yeah. You will be missed, Slice. In 1989, Pepsi had this crazy idea. Since we obviously have the superior product, we need to expand our marketing. Why should people only drink Pepsi at night? And so, they sent the Pepsi Man into the homes of innocent men and women and forced his nectar upon them, introducing Pepsi AM, because it's never too early to feel like shit for the rest of the day. This drink was aimed at coffee drinkers looking to get a boost for their morning email check. But it didn't contain actual coffee. We'll get to that one in a little bit. Pepsi AM had 25% more caffeine and was marketed like an energy drink. The taste was virtually indistinguishable from a typical Pepsi, so this was a drink that was relying entirely on the marketing. You won't taste a difference, but you might feel a difference. Possibly. There was also a diet version with less sugar. Only a single year after production, the operation was shut down, and it was just gone. A Pepsi representative is quoted as saying, "What we found from the test was that we didn't need to reformulate our product for consumers to enjoy it in the morning. It's a neat idea, but it's basically no different from regular Pepsi." And so, the Pepsi Man was called back to his cave. The Wild Bunch was a confusing time. 3 new flavors all at once. They must be really good. No they weren't, because they were introduced in 1991 by Pepsi and discontinued in 1991. This may have been a limited edition thing. Some of the drinks on this list were never intended to be mainstays. Still, they're pretty interesting to read about. Raging Raspberry was Pepsi with raspberry flavoring. It's said to have tasted like a burst of raspberry rather than an actual raspberry flavor, whatever that means. Again, these are confusing times. Strawberry Burst is Pepsi with strawberry, and Tropical Chill is Pepsi with an orange and pineapple flavoring. In the 80s and 90s, people were obsessed with clear.
The power of purple and blue and clear. Here's the color too.
Anything that was clear was pure.
Let me be clear.
This all happened because Ivory Soap began a marketing campaign where they claimed they were 99 and 44 100% clear. Hey, you know what's not clear? That fucking number. I think they just mean 99.44%. Because of this trend, in 1990, a Canadian manufacturer released a colorless soda called Canadian Spirit. So this wasn't an unprecedented invention. This all coincided with a slump in soda sales, likely due to a minor health craze. So in 1992, Pepsi's leadership took a sledgehammer to company structure, rethinking everything. They needed to stimulate the soda market, and fast. They came up with Crystal Pepsi, imitating Canadian Spirit by being a completely colorless carbonated soft drink. Why? Well, it's been known that color strongly influences consumer choice. Light colors equal light flavors. Aspen soda was light, apple, refreshing. Coke was heavy, dark, cola. So they invented Pepsi, but for healthy people. Trust us. Reportedly, it did taste less acidic, kind of, and had 2 fewer calories than normal Pepsi. But when it comes to taste, indistinguishable. You've never seen a taste like this. I have, because it's just Pepsi. After just 1 month in the test markets, Pepsi saw an unusually strong response. The product was unique, flashy. Word spread quickly on Crystal Pepsi, and everyone wanted a taste. It very quickly captured 1% of the soft drink market, which equates to $474 million. Happily ever after? Well, Pepsi was riding high on their new success, and someone was waiting in the wings for them to let their guard down.
Tab Clear, a new Diet Cola with a totally mysterious flavor. More than just a clear cola. Tab Clear.
Not soon after Crystal Pepsi, Coke released Tab Clear, a blatant copycat, but it gets worse. Coke wasn't interested in competing with Pepsi for clear soda dominance. They wanted to destroy the entire category forever. Tab Clear is described as a kamikaze marketing stunt, where it was poorly marketed on purpose. Listen to this. According to Coca-Cola's chief marketing officer, Sergio Zyman, Tab Clear was released at the same time as an intentional kamikaze effort to create an unpopular beverage that was positioned as an analog to Crystal Pepsi, in order to kill both in the process. The Born to Die strategy included using the poor-performing Tab brand rather than Coke, labeling the product as a sugar-free diet drink to confuse consumers into thinking Crystal Pepsi had no sugar, and marketing the product as if it were medicinal. Zyman said, "Pepsi spent an enormous amount of money on the brand, and, regardless, we killed it. Both of them were dead within 6 months." Through sheer consumer awareness, Coke confused people into thinking Crystal Pepsi was a medicinal drink, rather than a fun, new addition to the lineup. Talk about dirty tactics. It's even more confusing when you realize that Coke had actually experimented with the concept in the past. They called it White Coke, and it was produced as a secret one-off product for Soviet General Georgy Zhukov as a key player in foreign policy. The reason it was clear? They wanted to emulate vodka. Maybe they were just jealous that Pepsi had found a way to make it commercially viable. But Coke wasn't the only one jealous of Pepsi's success. Colorless soap, colorless mouthwash, colorless beer. By late 1993, Coke's master plan had worked, and Crystal Pepsi was no more. A few months later, they released a half-assed attempt at revitalizing the concept with Crystal from Pepsi, but this didn't seem to catch on. David Novak from Yum Brands is credited with the concept of Crystal Pepsi. In a 2007 interview, here's what he had to say. "It was a tremendous learning experience. I still think it's the best idea I ever had, and the worst executed. A lot of times as a leader you think, they don't get it, they don't see my vision. People were saying we should stop and address some issues along the way, and they were right. It would have been nice if I had made sure the product tasted good." Once you have a great idea and you blow it, you don't get a chance to resurrect it. They actually have an employee training video for Crystal Pepsi that you can find on YouTube. It's peak 90s nostalgia. Now, it was Coke's turn to make a massive mistake.
Dear Blank, this is a television chain letter promoting OK Soda. Tom B. of Little Rock, Arkansas declined a can of OK, then stepped onto an elevator that got stuck between floors for 6 hours. Happily, the other people in it, mostly third graders, knew an impressive range of knock-knock jokes, and the time seemed to pass quickly. While this is only a coincidence, Tom now drinks several cans of OK each day and shares our belief that things are going to be okay.
OK Soda was introduced in 1993 by Coca-Cola as the new Generation X soft drink. This is a soda that tells you everything's kind of lame now. Nothing to get excited about here. It's an idea from the guy that almost single-handedly destroyed the entire company, Sergio Zyman. He had worked very closely with the new Coke campaign, a hilarious disaster for the entire market. He did launch a successful redesign for Coke and Diet Coke though, so he was given free rein to create a new offbeat marketing campaign. You see, in the 80s, research showed that Coke was the second most recognizable word across all languages in the world. What was the most recognizable word? OK. Zyman saw this as an opportunity to create a drink that would take the world by storm. It would bridge all languages, all cultures. He had his ear to the ground and guessed that consumers were starting to become privy to targeted advertising campaigns. OK Soda would get ahead of the curve by calling out this fact in its own advertising, appealing to those new Gen Xers who didn't fall for cheap tactics. He predicted the drink would capture 4% of the market, a lofty ambition. It underpromises. It doesn't say, "This is the next great thing." It's the flip side of overclaiming. People who are 19 years old are very accustomed to having been manipulated.
I have several questions.
As easy as it would be to make fun of this ass-backwards logic, it isn't an entirely unfounded idea. Getting ahead of the curve and predicting trends is the entire point of marketing. Where I think they went wrong is assuming that simply calling out the bad idea gave them the green light to then do that bad idea. People hate cheap marketing tactics. With that said, here's a cheap marketing tactic. OK Soda is basically the preamble to Rick and Morty. Morty, serialized drama is just the product of lazy writers and capitalism. Now, here's a serialized drama. Well, it clearly didn't work for Rick and Morty, so take a wild guess at what happened. Nobody bought it, and the product was a huge flop. It tried too hard to appeal to a group that hated being appealed to. They marketed OK Soda based on pure vibes, and not on the drink itself. In fact, in their haste to be as nihilistic as possible, OK's own advertisements likened it to carbonated tree sap. In reality, it had a citric taste, slightly spicy. It's been described as a sort of mix between orange soda and flat Coke. Yummy! Others claim it has notes of orange peel, cinnamon, and clove. They put the kibosh on it just 7 months after its kickoff, and was never widely released to the public. It never even made it out of its testing grounds. What I do appreciate about this soda are the unique designs on the cans. The designs were created by Wyden plus Kennedy creative director Charlotte Moore, conceptual artist Peter Wegner, and designer Todd Waterbury. They also featured work by popular alternative cartoonists Daniel Clowes and Charles Burns, as well as work from illustrator Caleb Brown. Clowes actually modeled the mascot after Charles Manson, because according to him, nobody told him that you couldn't put a mass murderer on a can. You really can't make this stuff up. There were a few other gimmicks they packaged with OK Soda. One was a toll-free number, 1-800-I-FEEL-OK, that led callers through a true or false quiz game. They also had something called coincidences?
I think not!
Which were OK Soda themed urban legends set in towns across the US. They all ended with the phrase, "This is a coincidence."
There is no such thing as a coincidence.
Apparently, these were also mailed out to people in chain letters, which were then read on TV. There was also a prize can that you could get in certain vending machines. They would dispense merch, extra quarters, things like that. After it was all said and done, OK Soda netted Coca-Cola a spot in some top 10 worst ideas lists, and not much else. Funny thing is, this soda didn't even live up to its name. It didn't do okay. It did pretty goddamn terrible. Pepsi was probably feeling pretty good though. Speaking of which, after Pepsi's new health experiment didn't work out, they decided to go in the opposite direction.
Remember the time, just after the war, when those 3 Swedish nurses invited us for a weekend in Paris?
How can I forget?
We should have gone.
Coulda.
Woulda.
Shoulda.
Yep.
Josta. Better do the good stuff now.
Introducing Josta, the first real energy drink by a major beverage company in the US. This was a soda that had both caffeine and guarana, a plant from the Amazon that's naturally high in caffeine. Josta fans remember this drink tasted like a soda, but with a stronger, fruitier flavor, reminiscent of berries. No joke, this sounds ridiculously similar to Mr. Pibb, which is my personal favorite soda. 1995 saw Josta hitting store shelves, and a unique thing about it was the ingredients label. This energy drink had every ingredient printed on the can, which is something a lot of other brands still don't do. This was likely done as an establishment of trust for the consumer. After all, this is a powerful drink. If you have a powerful drink, you should market it as one. They used the slogan, "Better do the good stuff now," leading to a few hilarious commercials. Josta actually makes a few significant cameo appearances in film and TV. Disney Plus's Loki features a Josta can in the TVA, which is actually a fantastic show and you should totally watch it. And it also appears in the 1998 Godzilla, which is also a fantastic film and you should totally watch it. This is peak 90s, people. The drink lasted a good 4 years before Pepsi finally pulled it. The reason? Shifting corporate strategy. Typical. It did have its fans who created a campaign called Save Josta, which actually still exists today. Our goal is simple. Produce Josta in its original, groundbreaking formula. Josta was one of the first sodas marketed with a focus on its energy-boosting capabilities. Unlike most current energy drinks, Josta offered an exotic and fruity flavor not comparable to anything else being sold then or today. I won't lie, the can design kicks ass. I just love the vibes the soda gives off as a whole, and I would love to see it brought back. Energy drinks are more popular than ever right now, and a shakeup like this is just what we need.
So what'll it be today, Bob? Coffee? Pepsi?
Surprise me.
It's not unusual to be loved by anyone. It's not unusual to have fun with anyone.
Hey, this is a surprise. Introducing Coffee Cola. It's Pepsi, it's coffee. It's new Pepsi Kona.
Anything else? Did you do something with your hair?
New Pepsi Kona. Surprise.
In 1996, Pepsi Kona was launched. It was an experimental fusion of coffee and cola, kind of an extension of the Josta idea. Pepsi with more energy. The technical development of the drink was actually decently successful, since Pepsi had a good relationship with Starbucks. It was a well-designed can too, blending the Pepsi Blue with a coffee brown. Call it the regular show soda. The actual marketing campaign was pretty hilarious too. A few weeks before the launch, Philadelphia TV stations began airing 15-second teasers with the taglines, "Spank your senses," and "Grab life by the Konas." Once it was released, it was available virtually everywhere. But suddenly, poof, gone. I couldn't find a solid answer as to why, but in cases such as these, it was most likely due to poor sales figures. Pepsi did actually plan on releasing another drink of the same type, Pepsi Cafe, but it was put on an indefinite hiatus when COVID hit. You guys, I think Cokes may be a little bit jealous of Pepsi. They had their Josta and their Kona. They looked like the bad boys on the market, and everyone likes a good bad boy. That's why, in 1996, Coke released Surge, their own take on a hardcore beverage. It really was a Mountain Dew competitor, which was becoming every gamer's choice of a life-shortening liquid. It was originally called Urge when it was tested in Norwegian markets, but this was changed to Surge as it went global. Why Norway? Well, I didn't know this until doing research for this video, but Norway actually consumes a relatively high amount of carbonated beverages. They rank 5th overall. It also has a small-ish population, which would be able to give quick feedback on the taste of Surge. Okay, so maybe we're thinking Coke learned their lesson, and they want to be a bit nicer to other sodas? After all, this is a big market, there's plenty of room. The code name for Surge was MDK. Mountain Dew Killer.
Murder, death, kill.
Quoting from Wikipedia, it was developed to converge with Mellow Yellow as a means of slowing Mountain Dew's growth. Yeah, Coke likes to put on a happy face in their advertising now, but make no mistake, behind the scenes they are ruthless. They had a plan to take on Mountain Dew. Surge would use the chemical maltodextrin to achieve a longer blast of energy and a brighter color. The label's color is described as grungy green, which was apparently the style of the time. I don't know about you, but let's leave grungy green in the past. Surge actually did pretty well, capturing 2.2% of the market. Those 12 to 19-year-olds just ate it up. Coke was riding high on this success for a few years, but after the honeymoon phase had come and gone, sales began to dip. A lot of these sodas were marketed well, but they just couldn't compete with people's comfort zones with regular Mountain Dew. Nevertheless, the heavy promotion carried on. Feed the Rush, Life's a Scream, and a fully loaded citrus soda. But things really looked bleak after the great trademark dispute of 1997. Apparently, Surge was the name of a cow milking machine introduced in 1925. Of course, after it was discontinued, you had the Save Surge campaign, helmed by Eric Karkovac, who I think needs to get in the ring with the Save Josta guy. They could even agree to a draw and use it as a marketing stunt to bring both sodas back. We need the true clash of the energy drink titans here.
Mr. Powers, look. There's Britney Spears drinking a Pepsi.
Oops, I did it again.
That's not a Pepsi. It's a Pepsi Twist, man. And that's not Britney Spears. It's a man, baby.
Austin, it's me!
I want this wig! Come! Oh.
Fair enough.
Pepsi Twist and Diet Pepsi Twist. A twist on a great thing, baby.
That's a creative ad. I kinda like it. Pepsi Twist was introduced at the turn of the millennium. It's Pepsi with lemon flavoring, essentially. No sense in being more complicated than that, I suppose. But perhaps it could have used a bit more complexity, because I have little to no information on this one. Legitimately, the only thing I could find was that Japan, I guess, made an Optimus Prime action figure that included a cardboard Pepsi Twist bottle, for some reason. That's it. It was discontinued in 2006. Oh, it did also introduce these lime mascots.
Pepsi Skinbook Lara Crăciunului.
Oh, Pepsi Blue, surpriza anului ești tu. Ai colorat Crăciunul blu. Cel mai frumos cadou e Pepsi Blue. Oh, Pepsi Blue.
Un produs cola, Pepsi Cola.
Continuing the tradition of it's Pepsi but blank, Pepsi Blue was a berry-flavored soda introduced in the year 2002. It was initially marketed as Berry Cola Fusion, which is a cooler but ultimately wordy name. It was the result of rigorous taste testing of 100 flavors over the course of 9 months. Its target demographic was teenagers, no surprise there, and Pepsi described the flavor as berry. Just kidding, there's a bit more to it. Blueberries, raspberries, with a cotton candy aftertaste. Allegedly, it was more sugary and syrupy than regular cola. I mean, of course a soda as bright as Pepsi Blue was going to get into some chemical-related shenanigans. The company brightened the color of the beverage using Blue 1, which is likely one of the chemicals set to be banned by the Trump administration.
Ready Fazbear's Pizza.
The reason they went for this neon hue was due to the success of Mountain Dew Code Red, which bumped that division's numbers up 6%. Other sources liken the drink's appearance to Gatorade. There's also a few that claim Pepsi was trying to rival Coke Vanilla with this drink. And what kind of vanilla drink is blue? I don't know. At least we have this funny commercial.
Kuya, Pepsi Blue nga. Isa.
Ayoko nga. No, di kita type.
Uy, may magkakabisita!
Ito sir, Pepsi Blue.
Pahingi naman.
Pepsi Blue, sir. Dalawa. Mahipan kayo ng hangin, sir, ah.
Uy, hiya ka pa sa last piece. Mine na lang? Okay, mine.
Bill po.
Ha? Ako na naman? Kaya ko ba yung mo to? Mag-break na tayo! Tapos ngayon, gusto mo ng kiss?
Sir, Pepsi Blue.
Sarap maging Pinoy, no? Pepsi Blue! Para sa Pinoy! Pepsi Blue!
Only let a certified mechanic repair or alter your vehicle.
1, 2, 3, make it!
Let's leave information to the experts.
Make it!
Rules are there for your safety. That's riding in style.
Remix the rules, remix the flavor. New tropical Sprite remix. Remix.
Coke is back, and they're ready to mix things up with Sprite Remix. Released in 2002, these are colorless, caffeine-free sodas with some crazy flavor profiles. 2002 saw the release of Sprite Tropical Remix, which admittedly isn't that crazy. 2004 introduced Sprite Berry Clear Remix, which is just Sprite and berry flavors. And finally, 2005 with Sprite Aruba Jam Remix, Sprite with fruit flavors. These were kind of oversold to me, not gonna lie. Had I read those descriptions more carefully, this one probably would have been cut from this video entirely. With these new drinks, Coke introduced a do-it-yourself promotion, where they offered people free packets of the flavorings, which you would simply pour straight into your Sprite. It's like soda, but for losers. The 3 flavor packets they included were also simplified to grape, vanilla, and cherry, because Aruba Jam is too sophisticated for poor people, I guess. That last one was a little too milquetoast for Coke. They wanted something bold again. April 2004 saw the release of Coca-Cola C2. Codenamed Coca-Cola Ultra, C2 was a Diet Coke variant with half the sugar, calories, and carbohydrates of a regular Coke. Keep in mind, this was during the height of the Atkins diet craze, a short period of time in the early 2000s where everyone was suddenly super health conscious. The consumers wanted foods and drinks that were low in carbs. But you should know by now that anything that advertises itself as healthy probably isn't. Coke C2 still contained aspartame and high fructose corn syrup, which are going to be at least slightly bad for you any way you slice it. Funny story though, they were planning on launching Coke C2 in the UK as well, but they aborted the project because they feared it would overtake Diet Coke in sales. Yeah, like that would ever happen. Initial sales weren't promising, but Coke promised that C2 would remain in its lineup. But by 2005, many stores had willingly phased out the drink in favor of Coke Zero. Just a few years later in 2007, it was basically over. I have to say, the marketing campaign here was a bit strange. It's not a bad idea to appeal to consumer demands and make a low-carb soda, but you're not fooling anyone. Sodas are unhealthy, and the people who drink them are accepting that fact. If you're that desperate to lose weight, you're probably going to avoid the brown colas altogether.
I had churros last night.
I think this could have worked if they made Sprite C2, but hindsight is 20/20, I guess.
Brian, your scarecrow's pathetic. Use your wits, Brian. This land is your land. Don't let a rat with wings ruin your livelihood. They're using your farm like it's a free buffet. Well, nothing in life is free. And why stop at crows, Brian? Gophers, foxes, rabbits, hippies. Drinks like a soda, kicks like an energy drink. Halt! Get to it!
Time to do a complete 180 and release an extra unhealthy drink. In June of 2005, Coke introduced Vault, which is most comparable to Josta or Surge, a hybrid energy soda. The specific language Coke used was drinks like a soda, kicks like an energy drink, as well as the taste, the quench, the kick, get it done, and then some. Chug and charge, and get to it. I think drinks like a soda, kicks like an energy drink is perfect. The actual flavor was in the neighborhood of citrus, again trying to copy Mountain Dew's success. Vault had a substantially higher caffeine content than other sodas, 70.5 milligrams in every 12-ounce bottle. For comparison, Surge had a caffeine content of 52.5 milligrams, Mountain Dew claims 54, Mellow Yellow 51, and Sundrop 63. Hey, at least they released a diet version of Vault. They also had grape and peach flavors, which is pretty interesting. Peach is a flavor you don't find all that often, but it does have the potential to be an excellent soft drink. The advertisements, though, were aggressively 2000s. In one of them, a man builds a robotic scarecrow, another has a man building a football field using explosives, a man turns his house into a giant birdcage. You get it. Very reminiscent of the Doritos Bird of Prey commercial from a few years later.
What's up with Gary? Well, every time he craves Doritos, he turns into a bird of prey. Really? A bird. Oh, watch this.
Now there's a classic commercial. But not all was well in the land of Coke. There's this wild legal case where it was found that, when combined, Fanta Pineapple and Vault Zero had the potential to form benzene, an explosive compound. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's actually a carcinogenic compound. But Mountain Dew wasn't going to bend that easily. They released Code Red a few years prior, and Vault released Red Blitz in February of 2007. Red Blitz actually has guarana in it, which, if you recall, is the same ingredient in Josta. Vault was yet another failed attempt at sniffing some of Mountain Dew's success, and it was discontinued in 2011 in favor of a re-released Mellow Yellow. Guess it was too revolting. The Pepsi man had been in his goon cave long enough. They let him out in 2005, and he started edging. That's how we got the Skibbity Sigma drink called Pepsi Edge. It's a mid-calorie soda that was sold in the US and Canada. Kinda like Coke C2, it contained half the carbohydrates, half the calories, and half the sugar. It was sweetened with Splenda and sucralose, and it actually went by a different name in Canadian French, Pepsi Advantage. Not much on this one either, other than it was featured on The Celebrity Apprentice, where teams had to design a prototype bottle. There's also this weird toilet-related commercial.
The conditions at today's venue are perfect. Not too hot, not too cold.
Henry scores some points early with the hand wash.
Good move avoiding the pants there. No surprises in this routine.
Wait a minute. Booyah! What a finish! This moment deserves a Pepsi Edge.
New Pepsi Edge, with full flavor but 50% less sugar and carbs. Now you can reward yourself for almost any achievement.
Years of conditioning really paid off there.
Cinema. This one's a bit more unique.
Coca-Cola Black, enlighten your mind.
Coke Black. Released in 2006, this was yet another attempt at creating a coffee-flavored soft drink. Before they settled on Black, with a randomly capitalized K, they went through 25 different names. A spokesperson for Coke is here to answer for his coffee crimes. It is a blend of unique Coke refreshment with the true essence of coffee, and has a rich, smooth texture and a coffee-like froth when poured. He added, "We believe we've created a new category of soft drink, an adult product and a carbonated beverage, and a whole new drinking experience." Pro tip: if any representative claims to have created a new genre of something, guaranteed flop. The Lion King 2019? Ooh yeah, it's not like animated or live action. It's a new genre of film itself. Eat my asshole. The drink was introduced in France first, then a few smaller markets like the Czech Republic, Slovakia, and Lithuania. In France and Canada, black was sweetened with sugar, duh. But of course, the US version is cheapened with high fructose corn syrup and aspartame, the usual suspects. It was ultimately discontinued in 2008, and their weird-ass commercial was banished to the Shadow Realm. And last and probably least, Diet Pepsi Jazz.
You like jazz?
Indulge your senses with jazz. 0-calorie colas and strawberries and cream and black cherry French vanilla.
By this time in 2006, both companies had had their fun and were probably running out of ideas. What's next? Pepsi Lean? Coke Squid Ink? Sorry, I'm on a bit of a glorb kick right now. Diet Pepsi Jazz is what happens when you mix Pepsi and... doesn't say. I think it was just a name for some new flavors they wanted to try, kind of like the Wild Bunch. When it was released, it was meant to completely reinvent the wheel. Instead, it destroyed the wheel. Black cherry and French vanilla, caramel cream, and strawberries and cream. Crazily enough, Pepsi was able to trademark the word jazz for these sodas. In its 100 years of existence, no one ever tried to trademark it. So Pepsi was like, I'll be taking that? You know, maybe there was a reason no one ever tried to, because maybe it's, I don't know, aggressively dystopian? They called this the new sound of cola. Well, the new sound of cola is the sound of it being poured down the fucking drain, because they were revolting. Especially the caramel cream. Diet Pepsi Jazz got the axe to make way for Diet Pepsi Max. Probably for the best. Why would you ever think a flavor like strawberries and cream could actually work? It's strange, because for all the fighting and all the sabotage, no one actually won the Cola Wars. It's almost like someone was waiting in the wings, pushing for mutually assured destruction. That's right. Unbelievably, the winner of the Cola Wars is Dr. Pepper. They've been hiding in the background of this video, but you never noticed. They were planning their final soda revenge. Through an aggressive marketing campaign and a stellar flavor creation team, Dr. fucking Pepper has managed to garner one of the most loyal fan bases in recent memory. Their new flavors are all bangers. Cream soda, banger. Blackberry, banger. And yes, strawberries and cream, a huge hit. I really can't believe I'm saying this, but after all this time, I have become a huge Dr. Pepper fan. Candles does kinda match Dr. Pepper's vibe, now that I think about it. Hey Dr. Pepper, sponsor me. I will drink all the Dr. Pepper that you want and plaster it all over my channel. This is a serious offer. The Candles x Dr. Pepper collab is something that just makes sense. Anyways, my pepperheads, that's all for this video. Subscribe for more goofy, in-depth analyses like these, and be sure to follow my second channel, Coretta. We've also got a Patreon where you can support me and get constant video updates. I'm thinking about starting some merch stuff here soon as well. So, thank you for watching. I love you all. Good night.